This is the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show, sponsored by your North Texas Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive.
Welcome in, everyone. It is the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show, and boy, do we ever have a lot to talk about. Your Dallas Cowboys in a Sunday night affair with the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara. They put on a furious fourth quarter rally, but it is not enough. Let's pour over yet another Cowboys loss to the 49ers. We should be accustomed to it now. That's 4 years straight that we've seen the same thing. Joining me now, there you see him, the one and only producer extraordinaire, Andrew Cely.
We're going to test that title tonight. I'm just saying.
Are we going to test that? Well, listen, he's put together a great show. I have a sneaking suspicion that he's going to tell us what this show is all about right about now.
He's about to steal my line. All right, let's get right into it with what's on the show.
Here's What's on the Show, sponsored by NFM.
Try to steal my line, I'll steal one of his. Santa Clara, once again, a house of horrors for the Dallas Cowboys, who are now under 500 from the season. We'll break down what went wrong in the second half and kind of what went right on that comeback. Plus, it's the return of no fence riding with a look at the World Series because, yes, other sports are, in fact, going on. That is what's on the show, Joe. Now, who is on the show?
Are other sports really going on? I guess they are. All right, listen. Hey, we get to welcome back one of our favorite members, the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show family, the one and only Mac Engel. Mac Engel, of course, from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Yes, indeed. Look, he is so excited about joining us that he can't contain himself. Mac, how you doing tonight, brother?
I'm good, Joe. Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it. I was kind of optimistic that maybe we might be talking about some sort of miracle Cowboys comeback the way they did it under Mike McCarthy in his first season. But, however, we are relegated to talking about what we have talked about before.
Yeah, listen, it feels like what we saw the first 6 games of the season with a little bit of a twist, right? Because this Cowboys run game has been absolutely awful, league worst, completely dysfunctional, unwatchable. And it was interesting because as I look back on the way that game played out, our standards have fallen so much that Zeke Elliott runs for 34 yards. And dare I say, it felt like the run game was actually at least functional in the first half of this ball game. What'd you think?
I think this all started when they signed him. I know they signed him with good intentions, but Joe, I mean, he's not the same guy. He's not. No. I mean, they gave up on him for a reason, and New England gave up on him for a reason. He's just not the same guy anymore. And the one thing we have to talk about here, at least a little bit, this offensive line is not very good. They've been erratic at very best. Zach Martin has not looked like Zach Martin. Tyler Guyton, as a rookie, has struggled. Terrence Steele does not look like the guy that they gave the big contract to before he had his big injury. And it's not very good. And the running backs just are, I mean, they're done. Dalvin Cook, they finally elevated him to the active roster. They gave, what's-his-name, Rico Dowdle the flu to get him off the 53.
Very strange.
And the truth is, Joe, these guys aren't going to get it done. They didn't address it in the draft, and this is what they're going to have to deal with, and they deserve everything they got because they basically ignored the position.
No, I totally agree. And listen, when they signed Zeke Elliott, I was apoplectic on the radio a couple of times when I do my opinion pieces on our morning show. You know, I felt like it was an affront because they just kind of threw that out there at Cowboys fans thinking because there's this love of Zeke that they would love the move. When the reality is Zeke was as hard on his body on and off the football field as any player we've seen in recent years. And to expect more from him was expecting too much. And then the other issue with a complete lack of running game, and I think that is the root of why this offense is so dysfunctional. The other thing is the Cowboys made a bet, right? Jerry Jones and that front office bet that those young offensive linemen, Tyler Guyton and BB, could step in and do well. And they bet that the rest of that line, while they were trying to get their sea legs up under the young kids, could handle the rest of it. And none of that has worked. That has all just been absolutely, no go. That bet failed. And we're seeing the result of it. And again, while I say barely functional on this night, still, we saw what happened in the third quarter when the 49ers got a peek at what the Cowboys were trying to do. They absolutely shut that Cowboys offense totally down. And let's talk about that third quarter now. And I'll throw it to you, Andrew, because I'm curious. What What jumped out most to you when you watched the third quarter of that game?
I mean, the turnovers. I mean, that's essentially where this game was decided on some level. When Dak turns the ball over and you have an offense that is limited as it is, they were kind of playing within themselves throughout that first half. They weren't necessarily overextending themselves. A couple big plays here or there. The CD, it was a juggled catch along the sideline. And the run game might have been a little bit, at least it was more than what it usually was. An 11-yard run from Ezekiel Elliott and a touchdown run from him actually kind of felt like they've got something going on here. But if Prescott throws 2 interceptions, you're not coming back. That's how this team is built right now. You need him. As much as we don't want to put that much on him, he does kind of have to be perfect on some level. You can't turn the ball over. You have to be a little bit more consistent in the passing game and just play within a safer system. The interceptions killed him. That's the bottom line. I mean, we can look at this and say a remarkable comeback went. He came up a little bit short because he had a chance with a game-winning drive late, but you also can't put yourself in that kind of a hole and give the 49ers a short field when they'd been struggling offensively for the majority of the game. Mac, what do you think?
Something is wrong with the quarterback, and it's not just the offensive line. It's not just the running game. He's not moving the same way. He's just not. And, that happens to guys as they cross 30. But I think if you watch him, just watch him move. And you're right. Anybody who is saying they're asking him to be perfect is dead on right, because there's just not enough other good parts to this team to compensate when he's not playing well. There's not. And the truth is, in the third quarter, they had 15 yards or 16 yards. San Francisco had 21 points. And at one point in the second half, the Cowboys went 22 minutes, more than 22 minutes, without a first down. So when they scored these 2 touchdowns and made it look close, that to me reminds me of the home run hitter who comes up in the 9th inning and his team is down 15-4 and he hits a grand slam. I'm sorry, it's too late. When are you getting those yards? When are you getting that production? And at that point, you've asked yourself to be perfect, and it's absurd. You're not going to win. Every now and then, miraculously, you might pull one of those games out, and they've done that, but they're not good enough. And the bottom line is, all these off-season moves of the last however many years, it was eventually going to catch up with them, and that's what we're looking at. 12-5, 12-5, 12-5. That's a really impressive run, and it didn't get the credit it deserves for a lot of different reasons. But the bottom line is, it's not a very good team, and we're looking at all of those off-season moves that they made play out on a field on Sundays. That's why they are where they are.
No, there's no doubt about it. Listen, and you're right, and I totally agree with the point you made about the comeback, right? It was just, listen, they go into kind of prevent defense, a lot of zone defense. It gets easier to move the ball, and that's what you saw. Truth be told, Mac, it reminded me a lot of those failed comebacks in the Garrett era on the way to 8-8 seasons. How many of those have you and I seen? All right, while you ponder that, because I know it's too many to think about in a short amount of time, we're going to take a quick break. But stay with us, folks. We got plenty more to pour over as the Cowboys lose to the 49ers 30-24 in Santa Clara. Stay with us. The Ultimate Dallas Sports Show is back after this.
Today's headlines, sponsored by your North Texas Chevy dealers.
Great day for the rest of the NFC East. The Eagles dominate the Bengals 37-17, and the Commanders beat the Bears on a last-second Hail Mary from Jaden Daniels, 18-15, the final score there.
Play a little bit of inside baseball here. There was one more sentence I had to cut off there because I didn't know whether or not when I sent that up that the Cowboys were going to complete the comeback or not. So the end of that was going to be, and the hole that the Cowboys are in just got deeper, which I feel like is a good way to pull this thing back in, Mac.
Yes.
Because now this used to be one of the worst divisions in football. And now all of a sudden the Commanders have a remarkable young quarterback. The Eagles found their mojo again. And the Giants are no slouch. They at least played the Cowboys tough. So, Mac, considering where things are right now, how do you foresee things playing out with the Eagles on the horizon here coming up?
Washington the last couple of weeks, I thought this is the first time in more than 20 years this is going to be a problem for the Cowboys.
Yes.
Because consistently, even though people like to kick the Cowboys, there have been worse franchises out there. Washington was one of them. And that was basically 2 guaranteed division wins. every year for the Cowboys that they were pretty good, right? You could almost write them down because Washington was just that bad under owner Dan Snyder. Well, he's gone, and now for the first time since really Jack Kent Cook owned that team, Washington looks like they may have a clue. And if they have a clue, that is a big, big problem for Dallas, because now that looks like they have a quarterback. I was wrong on Jaden Daniels. I didn't think he was good. I mean, he is killing it. He looks like he is the best rookie. He looks like the best young quarterback we've seen since Patrick Mahomes. And I know they won on a miracle today, but irrespective of that play, he looks good. Washington looks like they have a clue. And if Washington has a clue, and we know Philly has a clue, now you're battling it out with a bad Giants team. And yeah, I know Dallas beat the Giants on the road earlier this season, but New York isn't that good. And here's the other thing. The Cowboys aren't that good. So this idea that somehow they're going to miraculously get into the playoffs through the division, yeah, that's not going to happen. So they're going to have to go on some huge tear and have to beat teams that they're going to be decided underdogs against. And that starts with the team they always beat up, Washington.
No, it's true. And I just, Micah Parsons coming back from injury. Obviously, Tank Lawrence is further down the road. But even if that happens, I don't think that's going to be enough because, again, this Cowboys offense is not functional with the way it's set up. It's not going to work. You have to have some sense of balance, especially with the way that Dak Prescott is playing right now. The Cowboys are now -8 in terms of the turnover differential. That is 30th out of 32 teams in the NFL. It's so bad, you can't, with all the things you're dealing with in terms of the injuries and waiting for guys to come back, you can't compound those problems by then playing giveaway with the football. And that's what the Cowboys have been doing this entire season. And here's the problem, because we've seen it play out before. They try to run the ball. It actually worked a little bit tonight. But they tried to run the ball in the third quarter, and then it didn't work. The offense absolutely ends up in a ditch. Dak Prescott tries to put a cape on, and then he makes mistakes because we know Dak's not the put-on-the-cape guy. Now, great field general. He can lead a team. If he's got talent around him, great distributor, right? We've seen him do all those things. But putting on the cape, that's not his forte, and unfortunately, that's what they are asking him to do in this situation. And I'm sorry, with the lack of explosiveness in that offense, I just don't think it's going to work. What do you think, Andrew? So
I think the main question at this point here is, because we've done this song and dance now 4 times this season, and it feels like we've done it 7, but realistically, it's only been 4. And Mike brought this up last week, which is, at what point do you kind of just let the season happen? And I kind of got the feeling with Jerry's messaging and how this entire offseason happened, he was just going to be happy with how it unfolded in any way. But do you do anything to save this, or do you just kind of let's start looking toward the future here and start building up some draft capital along the way? And it's weird to say that in week 8 and a 3-4 record, but it also kind of feels like that's the direction we're going.
Let me jump in, because there's one thing, right? Just reading in terms of what could they do, what could they look at. But I do think they have to at least consider moves that would help them down the road that could also help this year. And listen, I mean, Nick Chubb is there in Cleveland. Is Cleveland going to let him go? Probably not. It probably won't work, but that's the type of move that I'm talking about. A piece that isn't just for this year. It's a piece that you're looking at in terms of moving forward to try and pair with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb because you've got them under the big contracts. What do you think?
I think whatever they were going to do is done, and they're going to let this thing ride out. And, while we're sitting here killing everybody, Trayvon Diggs doesn't look that good. The safeties don't look that. The team just isn't that good. And I know Michael Parsons is kind of coming back, and they're going to make a little bit of a push at 500. And at best, that's what this team is, 500.
Yeah, no doubt. I think you're right. Listen, it's going to be 7-8 wins if they're lucky at this point. All right, guys, we got to take another quick timeout. But coming up after this, we're going to gamify Ultimate Dallas Sports Show. Time to have a little fun with the producer. We'll see what Andrew's got cooked up this week. Stay with us.
And now it's time for No Fence Riding, sponsored by the Fort Worth Convention and Visitors Bureau.
That's right. Welcome back to the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show. It is time for everyone except Michelle's favorite segment, No Fence Writing. The concept is simple. I have a couple statements here to give our panel, which tonight is just Mac and Joe, and it's up to them to decide which side of the fence they're on with the statement. So let's kick things off here with statement number one. This World Series has already lived up to the hype. Now, I was one of the biggest critics heading into this because probably most of the flyover country is tired of seeing the Dodgers and Yankees in this. They've been in the World Series at least half of the time it's been around. But two premier franchises, a walk-off grand slam in Game 1, and Game 2 went down to the wire. And, oh, by the way, the Yankees are 0-2 so far, so I can't complain. Mac, what do you think here?
Yep, totally agree. It's been the best, highest ratings, which was totally predictable. We've seen it about 8 years for a baseball World Series, and Game 1 delivered a moment that is right up there with all-time baseball great moments, harkening back to the days of Vince Scully, and it has definitely delivered the hype. The only disappointing part, it's 0-2 as opposed to 1-1.
Listen, I totally agree, and there's no doubt about it. Listen, by the way, no complaints here about the matchup because for some of us of a certain age, there's nostalgia involved in Dodgers-Yankees. And listen, I am here for it. And the coolest thing so far has been the Freddie Freeman home run when you also have the side-by-side of the Kirk Gibson home run.
Yeah.
The call was fantastic. The fact that they harkened back to that, it's what baseball's all about, man. It is so well done. The numbers are going to be through the roof. And Bafo, yes, it has exceeded all limitations so far.
My one critique is the internet jumping on the Freeman homer and putting the Moneyball music underneath it. What are you doing? Have you ever watched the movie and do you know what it represents?
Leave them alone.
It's an affront. That's all I'm saying.
Leave them alone.
That's all I'm saying. All right, let's move on here. Statement number two. Athletes need to do a better job of understanding time and place in a big game. Shohei Ohtani, you're the best player in baseball. You're at home, up 3 in Game 2 of the World Series. You don't need to try and steal in the bottom of the 8th. This is another Derrick Rose situation. And yes, he's available for Game 3, and we understand that, but it's still putting him at risk further down the line. Joe, I'll throw it to you here. What do you think?
Yeah. Simmer down, young fella.
Just saying.
Let me tell you how the old people play, right?
Oh, Charlie Hustle. Here we go.
Yeah, let's talk about Charlie Hustle because there was one gear that some of us play with. It's one gear. It's all out. There's a championship on the line. So there you go. Ohtani gets hurt. He was giving it all. You never know how that game's going to play out. He ends up on second. Base knock gets him in. They get closer. I'm sorry. Simmer down here now. He did the exact right thing, and I'm not going to give him any grief.
Mac, what do you think?
Did the wrong thing. The dude is Godzilla, and he is a time bomb waiting to go off because he is so bleeping big. And he's an amazing guy to watch, but when he did it, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And so I can't be terribly surprised that he got hurt because that's all that's going to happen in the later part of his career. Quit making yourself putting yourself in those injury-prone situations. Stop it.
All right, split down the middle. All right, final statement here. Goal line cameras need to be mandatory. I don't know if anyone watched the TCU-Texas Tech game. TCU rallied for a huge comeback win, but winning their rushing touchdowns looked questionable. They probably would have gone in anyway on that drive. But there was no definitive shot down the line. How are we at this point in 2024 with no goal line cameras everywhere for a broadcast? Mac, what do you think?
Absolutely. If you're betting money on it and we have that kind of scrutiny, absolutely they need to be attached.
Absolutely, no doubt. Anyone who's ever been jobbed by a ref before, give me as many cameras as you got. Give me all the replays, too, while we're on it.
Sounds good. All right, Mac, thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday. Thankfully, the game was actually over this time. Stay with us on the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show. Joe's Final Take is coming up next.
You're the best, Mac. Thanks.
Welcome back to the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show. Time now for Joe's Final Take. We hope.
My final take is not going to be very good for Cowboys fans because some of the fears I had in training camp are coming true far too soon. There were too many holes in this roster. There were too many bets that the Cowboys made hoping that things would work out. And when hope is your plan, you're seeing what could happen. And unfortunately, I think it's only going to get worse, even when some of the Cowboys' best players do come back from injury. That's my final take.
It's tough to argue with that. I mean, how else do you want to end the show on a more positive note, Joe? There's a new week coming up next week. Stay with us in the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show. We will see you after. Who do they play next week, Joe?
They're going to lose again. They're playing the Falcons. Kirk Cousins. You like that?
Oh, boy.
You like that? Actually, they might beat Kirk Cousins. You know. I don't know about Kirk Cousins.
We'll replay this to see what happens.
They might beat. They're gonna beat Kirk Cousins. You heard it here first.
See y'all next week.
Falcons go down.
This has been the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show, sponsored by your North Texas Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive.